And tonight, the U.S. State Department is negotiating the release of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich. The State Department says the American journalist is wrongfully detained in Russia. According to the State Department and the Wall Street Journal, Gershkovich was arrested 2 weeks ago while reporting on a reporting trip in the Russian provincial city of Yekaterinburg. That city is about 800 miles east of Moscow. Russia says that Gershkovich was arrested on espionage charges. He's the first American journalist arrested in Russia on those charges since the Cold War. A senior Russian official telling state media today that Russia could consider the possibility of a prisoner exchange, but only after his trial ends. In Russia, the legal proceedings, as you know from watching Brittany Griner, can sometimes stretch on for months and months. And there are many Americans in prison in Russia, but that exact number is unknown. Here on this news show, we recently reported about American citizen and professional musician James "Jimmy" Wilgus. Wilgus has been in prison in Russia, a Soviet-style gulag, since 2016. Most probably don't even know the Wilgus name. He's been lost in a shuffle, but certainly not by his family and not here. His health is rapidly declining from the 6 grueling years of incarceration. Wilgus does not feel he will survive the 6 years remaining on his sentence. But we would also be remiss if we didn't talk about retired U.S. Marine Paul Whelan. Since 2018, he's been in prison in Russia. You probably remember our prior reports about Whelan, too. No doubt you also remember that the Biden administration secured the release of both WNBA star Brittany Griner and retired U.S. Marine Trevor Reed, but not the release of Whelan. Whelan's family has called this a, quote, unconscionable betrayal. And today, that same Russian official mentioned Whelan's name, saying any potential talks of a swap could use a channel that Moscow and Washington have used in the past. Paul Whelan's brother, David Whelan, joins me. Good evening, David. And first, do you have any information, recent information, on your brother's condition?
He was out of touch for about 2 weeks. The prison phone system had broken, and so he wasn't able to call home. But he called home on Monday, and he said he's doing his best to survive, and that he had heard about another American being arrested in Russia for espionage, and that's given him some concern.
What does he do all day long?
Monday through Saturday, they work in a sewing factory that's inside the prison camp. They create some sort of textile clothing. Sunday, they get a day of rest.
Has the Biden administration contacted your family about your brother?
We've been in touch regularly over the last 51 months that Paul's been in detention, and they try and keep us up to date about what they're doing or what they're thinking about, but not in detail. We don't know, if they're doing a swap, or with what Secretary Blinken has said is a significant proposal. We don't know what that contains.
Well, I know there's no question dealing with Russia on this is a really, a humongous task. I'm not suggesting that, but I mean, is there resentment that your brother was not included in the earlier swap? I mean, this was for an arms dealer who has caused, much death and destruction. Is there, resentment or disappointment, or did they give you an explanation why Russia wouldn't include your brother?
They didn't give us an explanation, and we don't have any resentment about the fact that they had an opportunity to bring one American home, Ms. Griner. They did not have an opportunity to bring Paul home, and so they took the opportunity that they had. But I think our concern is now growing that they have not been able to deter additional arrests of Americans. Mr. Gershkovich is a great example of that. And they also haven't been able to bring Paul home. So we don't seem to be any closer to Paul's case being resolved than it was before.
Well, I get the sense from reports that there's an active discussion to try to get the Wall Street Journal reporter home, and I hope they do. Look, on this show we did, I think, about 28 segments to bring Brittany Griner home. I want everybody to come home, but it does seem that your brother, in a little way, has gotten lost in the shuffle. Do you have a sense that the same devotion or attention that we're hearing about the Wall Street Journal report and everyone trying to get home, that your brother is getting that same attention or equal attention?
Well, I think that the State Department certainly has been vocal in the last week about Paul's case, which we appreciate. We like to see that he is remembered and that they are keeping him top of mind. But I think that their words don't match their actions. We're seeing that they're calling Paul's case a priority, and yet each time they have been able to concede something to Russia, he has been deprioritized and left behind.
David Whelan, thank you. And hopefully next time we'll be talking to your brother be home. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.